PS2 video game ramble here today. The console, all that shit. I have some items on the bed there that I'll show. This is like the N64 ramble. I'm just gonna chat about my personal kind of history with the PS2 and shit like that. Chewing some island berry lime. Gum here today. It's pretty good. I just want to check the. I want to get the focus a little better, but the old PS2. This is not my original PS2. The first PS2 I would have gotten was in '02. Wasn't the first time I played it. My first experience with the PS2 was GTA 3. My friend's brother had it, and Silent Hill 2 as well. He couldn't handle it. He's like, this game's too fucked up. I was like, nice. I played it there a little bit. I had gotten a GameCube. And then I grabbed a Dreamcast in early '02. It was $20 and I ended up getting the Xbox. My first own. And I was dating someone at the time and I borrowed her PS2. And I played some Final Fantasy X on there as well. That's some more GTA 3. That's the, this is the official memory card, the 8 megabyte. This is a generic original PlayStation memory card. You needed one of these to save your games. That was the cool thing about the original Xbox. It had a hard drive in it, which is sweet. But yeah. This is the fat PS2, as they call it. Pretty classic design. We all need to know the PS2, arguably the greatest console of all time. You absolutely could argue it. It's not my personal favorite, but I would never sit here and deny the fact. Amazing game library. Almost every genre of games for this PS2 was stacked, I should say. The only one that wasn't really stacked was first-person shooters, and they still had a good amount of them. They had the Medal of Honors. The first Resistance came out. No, I'm sorry, not the first Resistance. The first Killzone. Actually, the second Killzone came out on the PS2 as well. That was supposed to be their answer to Halo, but it wasn't. And they had other stuff as well, like Project Snowblind. They had first-person shooters, but it wasn't like right with them. I mean, a lot of the systems weren't at that point. The PC still was, but every other genre, fucking. You know what? No, because even Western RPGs are pretty well represented. Obviously, Japanese RPGs are beyond represented. Survival horror is. I'll get into survival horror on the PS2 in a bit. But holy shit, survival horror fans are wet fucking dreams. The PS2 with the amount of shit they had on it. Here's the old DualShock 2. That makes great shoulder button sounds. I do like this controller. Not as much as the Xbox one. I don't really hate any video game controllers. Some I like more than others, but I'm always able to use whatever one it is, even if it's the fucking N64 weird one. But yeah, this thing sold like 150 million units. It's the greatest. I'm pretty sure it's the greatest selling console of all time. I'm pretty sure the DS, if you want to say home console, definitely is. I'm pretty sure that the family of DS systems did not pass it to handhelds. This thing was fucking stacked. I mean, and like I said, my first one, I did not say this yet, I was babbling on. I got my first one in '02 for GTA Vice City. Because I played enough of 3 to love it. And I'm like, I need fucking Vice City. Like, I'm not gonna not be able to play this fucking game when it comes out. And they eventually put it on the Xbox as well when they released the 3-pack with San Andreas. Vice City, and Vice City is still one of my favorite games of all time. I fucking love it. So fucking good. You got Ray Liotta, rest in peace, as Tommy Vercetti. And he wasn't phoning it in, he fucking ripped it up. It took place in Vice City, which is modeled after Miami, and it just looked great. It had the 80s soundtrack. Fucking phenomenal game. Well worth getting PS2 for. I held that PS2 for a little bit. That generation, I was bouncing back and forth. The Xbox was like the stalwart. The stalwart, what that word is, the main console. I'll just say that. I'm just using a fucking word I shouldn't use. That was my main console throughout up until 05, and then I finally sold that. And then I would bounce back from Cube. I would have the Cube and the Xbox, or the PS2 and the Xbox, and I'd rotate those ones out. I owned like 3 PS2s at that point. I would sell them to friends or to GameStop. Same thing with the Cube. But I got my first one, Vice City, and I also had, at that point, I had picked up Metal Gear Solid 2, another fucking amazing game. Soul Reaver 2, great game. I had a couple. I remember selling it to my friend with those games and some other ones as well. I forget what other games I had. I had played Silent Hill 2, but I had not beaten it at that point. What else did I have at that point? I definitely had a few other games. I can't remember what, though. Metal Gear Solid 2, Vice City, Soul Reaver 2. Those are the 3 I really remembered. I don't know. But then I sold that one. Went away from it. Wasn't thinking about it. And then, I'm pretty sure this was my second one. But I bought another new one at this point. And this one I got for... Actually... I gotta look it up. I did buy my second PS2 new because I wanted fucking Silent Hill 3. Silent Hill 3 was exclusive. The 2 came out on the Xbox and so did 4. But 3 only, and they might have put it out on PC at some point, but 3 was exclusive to the PS2. I want to see when it came out. I can't believe this game sells for fucking like $120, $150 used now. It's fucking nuts. And that game was $40 when it came out, and you got the soundtrack with it. Alright, so yeah, it came out May 23rd, 03. I would have gotten it, I think, August. I don't think I got it immediately when it came out. But I'm like, I need to play Silent Hill 3. And it was fucking amazing. Probably one of the best looking games on the console. It looked fucking amazing. Use Heather in that one, right? Harry's daughter. Great fucking game. Now this time I had that one for longer. That's when I got Final Fantasy X-2 as well. I'm pretty sure I got that in like in November of 03. I wanted to see when that came out because I was like, I'm pretty sure I had Silent Hill 3 before I had Final Fantasy X-2. But one of the things I have here is my original. This is like the only original thing I have related to PS2. This is my original Final Fantasy X-2 pre-order poster from GameStop. I still have it. It was on my wall for years, and then I took it down. Now it's all beat up. So you got Riku, Yuna, and Pain. That's back when you'd pre-order stuff from GameStop, and they'd hook you up with some shit occasionally. You'd get a pre-order bonus. I fucking love this game. I've talked about it. A lot of people can't fucking stand it. I fucking loved it for whatever reason. I adore that game. But I had Final Fantasy X-2 at that point, Silent Hill 3. I had played Fatal Frame at that point. I have some games here. It's the only Fatal Frame I own at this point. Fatal Frame 3. I paid $50 as new not too long ago. And now this sells used for like $100. It was like 2 years ago I got it. I've had the other ones over the years and bought and sold them, and now they're just too expensive for me to want to buy them again. This one's cool. I've not beaten it. The first one's fucking amazing. The second one's cool too. Crimson Butterfly, right? But so the fucking PS2 is a fucking dream for survival horror fans. Now, if you have like Steam on your computer or laptop or whatever, you can get all types of fucking horror games. And even the newer consoles, Xbox One. Well, I guess it's more Xbox. I apologize for my sweaty pits. I was out walking before. But, like, for the consoles at the time, like, the PS2 had it all. The Cube had some good stuff. It had the Resident Evils, the remakes. It had fucking 4. PS2 got Resident Evil 4 as well. Later on. And it had Eternal Darkness, which was huge. And that game Geist, which was kind of a survival horror game. And the Xbox had some stuff, but not a ton. They got 2 of the Fatal Frames. They got 2 Silent Hill games. They got, like Call of Cthulhu, Dark Corners of the Earth. They had Dino Crisis 3 as well. They got no Resident Evils, the original Xbox. And like stuff like Cold Fear and shit came out on there as well. There was some stuff there, but not a ton. PS2. They had the 3 Silent Hills, and then they got Origins, which is a port of a PSP game, and they got Shattered Memories, which is a Wii game. Actually, no, it was Wii and PS2. They came out at the same time. I played Shattered Memories, not all of it, on the Wii. A remake of the original, a reimagining of the original. Pretty cool game, but very kind of different. And those games sell through the roof, too. Holy fucking shit. Try collecting for survival horror games for the fucking PS2. It's fucking, it's gonna cost you. They had games like Siren, which was really fucking cool. And I had that recently, but sold it. I got it at a great deal and sold it, and I probably shouldn't have. But whatever. I'm clamoring to play. But then they had shit like, these are games I never played, but are super fucking expensive. Rule of Rose, Haunting Ground, Kuon. They had these games, and these games are fucking probably $200, $150, $200, if not more now. I don't know. They had some Resident Evil stuff. They got Code Veronica X. They got Dead Aim, which I think was a light gun game. They had the 2 Outbreak games, which are kind of online. You could play them single, but they were online too. They did have an online thing for this system. It would hook up into, I think it would hook up into this. I think it was like a hard drive. I forget what the fuck it was. And you got only 2 controller ports, the Cube and the Xbox had 4. Kind of disappointing that Sony would only put 2 in there. And here's the USB cables and shit like that down here. I had the classic, you'd always like you'd go into the settings real quick and do like fast, smooth, or whatever. You'd change it all the time. But survival horror games out the ass. They had Cold Fear, they had like Ghost Hunter, they had fucking the Fatal Frame, all 3 of the Fatal Frames. They had, well, the first 3, there have been other ones. I have made him Blackwater on the Wii U, and now it's out on the newer systems. I've never played 4. I think that was a Wii exclusive. I don't think it came out over here either. I think it was only in Japan. What else did they have? The X-Files game, Resistor Serve, which I didn't beat, but I played some of that. I bought it for like $12, probably fucking 12 years ago. And now that's another game that sells $50, $60. That game was fucking cool if you're into it. And it had the cast and shit doing the voices. Like I said, they had some Resident Evils. They had, They had 1 or 2 of the Obscure games. I played the first Obscure on the original Xbox. Really interesting game. Survival horror type game. Maybe they just had the Aftermath, which is also fucking super expensive. I don't know if they had the first one, if the first one was exclusive to Xbox or not. Or the Aftermath was, I fucking forget. If it was just a port. And I'm missing survival horror games here. They had a shit ton. Oh, fucking Clock Tower 3. Fucking classic. And that game was cheap for a while. I remember buying that game when I first bought it. It was like 09. I got GameStop like $5. That's like a $60 or $70 game now. Olyssa, if you ever played that game, Olyssa. That game's fucking cool, and it has really gory, fucked up cutscenes that show the killers fucking and their victims. But the point of that game is like you're always running away from these people. You gotta hide from them. I think you have like a holy water thing that will stun them, but you're always hiding from them. Cool fucking game. There was that one. And I'm like I said, I'm probably forgetting fucking 50. Oh, there's another Extinction was another early one. I think it was called Extinction. That one's actually still fairly cheap. And there was others, obviously. I'm missing a bunch. But if you like survival horror games, you could just fucking live off the PS2. Just from the 3 Silent Hills and the 3 Fatal Frames alone, you'd be set. And if you happen to pick up like a Roll of Rose or a Haunting Ground, Clock Tower 3 back then, I'm saying, yo, Kuwan, these other ones. Kuwan was a cheap one for a while, and then all of a sudden it was like $200. Everything that one. Obviously, you had your fucking RPGs. This is Final Fantasy 12. So they had a bunch of Final Fantasies. They had this one. They had 10-2. They had 10. They had the online one, which was 11. They didn't have a ton of Final Fantasies, but they had enough. But they had the Dark Cloud fucking games. They had fucking Shadow Hearts, which is almost like a survival horror-ish RPG. They have Shadow Hearts Covenant, and Shadow Hearts The New World, I think. Also expensive. PS2 is a system you can collect for. It's like the original NES. There's really cheap games, there's moderately priced games, and there's fucking super expensive games. But you can collect for it if you want to collect for it. You had the fucking Ratchet and Clanks, you had the Jak and Daxter games. Kingdom Hearts first came out on there. I'm not a huge Kingdom Hearts fan. This came from Giselle. I do have the third one. They're cool games. I've never put a ton of time into them, but I'm not like super. People cream over these games. They love them. But this was released. This came out on the other system as well with fucking Lord of the Rings and Return of the King, both fucking cool ass games. Shit like Scooby-Doo, which also came out on the other systems as well. They had everything. There's a fucking State of Emergency. This was originally an exclusive, and then it came out on the Xbox, which had the fucking custom soundtracks feature, which was awesome. The second one was only on the PS2. You had fucking Manhunt. Manhunt 2. I can't even come close to remembering all the games. They had like fucking Star Ocean 11 or something. I fucking forget. Star Ocean something that wasn't 11. It was Star Ocean. There might have been something like The New World as well. You had obviously tons of fucking sport games. You had fucking. I'm trying to think of some. The one thing they were kind of missing was the Elder Scrolls type game, because Elder Scrolls couldn't be on the PS2. The PS2 couldn't handle it. They did have that Pirates of the Caribbean game that I picked up on the Xbox. I said Jak and Daxter's, the fucking Ratchet and Clanks. Like I said, they also had Metal Gear Solid 3, Snake Eater, which that didn't come. That only came out. 2 ended up coming out on the Xbox. Metal Gear Solid Substance. They had racing games. Obviously, they had the Need for Speeds. They had their Gran Turismo still coming out, which are exclusives. I think 3 and 4 were on the PS2. You couldn't go wrong with the PS2 because it had so much. I mean, I'm trying to think. I don't know why I'm forgetting all the PS2 games. And this was when the Xbox and the Cube came out in 01. This is what Sony does. The PS2 was originally 300, I believe. The Cube came out at 200, which was, oh shit, nice. And the Xbox came out at 3. Sony, the fall that those two systems came out, Sony released Final Fantasy X, Silent Hill 2, Metal Gear Solid 2, Devil May Cry. The Devil fucking May Cry series originated on the PS2. I mean, the Maximo games from fucking Capcom. There's a cool game, Primal, that was on the PS2. It starred Hudson Lake, who played Callisto on Xeno. Somebody else, the other guy was known to, was her and like this demon buddy. That's a cool game. They pretty much had the third party games were all over the PS2, and the exclusives were endless. It came completely forgot about Devil May Cry's. You know, they started there. And the first Devil May Cry was like, people were like, holy fucking shit. And the second one disappointed a lot of people, and the third one was sick. It was just so many games. But Devil May Cry came out, I'm pretty sure, 01, in the fall of 01. So not only did they bury the other two consoles with sick titles, they dropped their price to $200. Now, all of a sudden, the Cube doesn't have the advantage, and all of a sudden, the fucking Xbox is like, fuck, we have to immediately drop our price and lose money. Because when I got the, they dropped their price a little, I think maybe in early 02. PS2, I'm pretty sure, because I got the Xbox in March of 02 at $300, but if you got it within a month of the price drop, they give you the $100 back, and I did. I was like, yes, so I got the $100 back. But Sony just, PS2, and the Cube didn't sell well. It's Cube like 15 million. Great system, by the way. And the Xbox for a new console, Microsoft popped fucking 30 million, I think, which is good. The PS2, it was, it was over. The PS2 owned the PlayStation, and the PS2 era was theirs. PS3 battled with 360. I think it might have eventually outsold it by a few million over time because it was out like an extra year, and they still put out games for it. But everybody was buying their games for the 360, the Metal Gear, the Call of Duties and shit. And then they took over again in the PS4 era, and now in the PS5 era. And the Wii obviously really owned the generation, if you want to count it as part of the generation, with the 360 and the PS3. And then the Wii U took a shit, and then fucking the Switch sold like crazy. But this is PS2. Like I said, it was just so many games. I mean, if you want to collect the full game library for PS2, it's gonna take you some time and a shit ton of money. This is just like a bit of what they had, like everything. Oh look, Scooby-Doo, State of Emergency, a Riot game, fucking RPGs, movie-based games, survival horror stuff. And like I said, I had a ton of fun with the PS2. Eventually I got one before I got the 360, and I actually started to collect for it a bit, and then moved that shit to get the 360. So at that point, I had like a couple of survival. I had like Clock Cloud 3, a couple of Silent Hills 2 and 3. I had Fatal Frame, the first Fatal Frame, not the second at that point. I had not owned it at that point. I'd owned it at some point. I had like Project Snowblind and fucking Shadow of the Colossus was another fucking amazing fucking game. That was a PlayStation exclusive. Now, obviously, they re-released it. Actually, I don't think it never came out on anything other than Sony platforms, because that was a Sony-made game. There was so much to choose from, and quirky, weird games as well. There's a Parappa on there, but Parappa was that originally a Sony property? Yeah, I think it was, right? It wasn't a Sega one. They had everything else. They had everything in between, too. Like, it was endless. And like I said, I'm only thinking of some, and there are millions that I'm forgetting. Not millions, but a shit ton I'm forgetting. But a cool system. It didn't have the power of the Xbox. Some people will argue that the Dreamcast actually looked a little bit better than it, and the Cube did. But it looked obviously close enough. There was not a big enough gap between the systems, looks-wise, graphics-wise, but it had the fucking games. Sorry, that was loud. It had the games, that's all that mattered. And it had the DVD drive in it as well, which helped bury the Dreamcast. That's another thing they came in. They pretty much ended Sega. They pretty much ended them fucking the generation before, but then they officially ended them. Which is sad. Obviously, I'd love to see a new Sega system. Sega and Nintendo should have teamed up and made a system after going at it for years. But, I mean, you could argue it. If you were like, you know what, I'm into video games, but I just want to focus on one system. Doesn't matter what generation it's from, you can just get the PS2 and go to town. Of course, you spend a lot of money on the games, but some of them now, because they're expensive, but some are cheap. Like the Jack games are cheap. The Ratchet & Clanks are fairly cheap. Devil May Cry's are not that expensive either. The God of War games. I'm forgetting the first fucking God of War, and the second one came out on PS2. amazing franchises start on the PS2 and the PlayStation for that matter, the original PlayStation. I had a lot of good memories with it, but I never had it for extended periods of time up until, I got these ones for years. But back then, I would have them for like 4 to maybe 6 months at a time. And the Warriors I played on the PS2, another fucking great game that came out on the Xbox as well. Based on the movie. It was like half open world, half based on the movie. It's interesting the way they did it. The Smuggler's Run games were on there. I mean, endless amounts of games. I said the Dark Cloud 2. I'm surprised they never made a third Dark Cloud game. Rogue Galaxy. They had a few Tales games. I think they ended up getting Symphonia maybe at some point. That was originally a Cube exclusive though. They had Castlevania Lament of Innocence was exclusive to that great game, and then Curse of Darkness came to the Xbox as well. They had the Ace Combat games, so you're getting flight games in there. They had whatever you fucking needed. Pretty much, you were gonna get a wealth of it. Except maybe like Western RPGs, you would have struggled a little bit. But whatever. You pretty much had it all if you wanted it on the PS2. But that's just me talking about the PS2 here. System. Here's the controller again. Some good games. I pre-order poster for Final Fantasy X too. I know I missed a shit ton of games, but I just kind of wanted to talk with my experiences with the system and stuff. But yeah, thanks for checking this out, and have a good day.